This woman is doing things that give her pleasure alone in the room, because her boyfriend is busy with work and has no time for her. She's lonely and has to find pleasure. Laura is a luxury hotel sales director, beautiful and professional, but Laura's personal life is lacking in passion. Her boyfriend is too busy with his career to care about Laura's feelings. To save her relationship, Laura takes her best friend on a vacation to Sicily. On this night, Laura was about to celebrate her 29th birthday. Her boyfriend sang Laura a birthday song in public. This gave Laura goosebumps of embarrassment. Then a bottle of champagne was served, which everyone thought was a gift from the hotel. In fact, there was a man watching Laura from the shadows. Then Laura turned around and bumped into a handsome man as she wandered through the garden. But she didn't think anything was wrong. Even though it all seemed to be planned, Laura didn't care. The next day, Laura was chatting with a friend. Today was Laura's birthday, but her boyfriend was traveling alone without Laura. He only brought Laura a souvenir card for her birthday. Laura was so angry that she pushed her boyfriend into the pool. Laura is so upset that she feels confused and helpless about love. Tears of sadness slipped from the corners of Laura's eyes. In the evening, she was walking alone in an alley and got lost. But the next thing she knew, she was being followed and kidnapped. Laura awoke from her sleep to find herself in a strange bed. She tried to escape and realized she was being held captive. Shortly after, the door to her room was opened. Laura rushed out the door. She stopped in her tracks when she came to an unfamiliar room. There was a huge portrait of her hanging on the wall. Laura turned around and met the handsome man she bumped into at the hotel that day. It turns out that this man had arranged all of this. Massimo's family is the most powerful mafia in Sicily, controlling every industry in the region. 5 years ago, Massimo and his father were talking business on the beach. He looked through his binoculars and saw Laura hanging out on the beach and fell in love at first sight. Massimo's father refused the partner's offer and was killed by the partner. At the same time, Massimo was shot and fell into a pool of blood along with his father. Massimo was in a coma, but images of his father and Laura kept popping into his head. For years, Laura's face haunted Massimo's memory. Massimo took over his father's business and searched the world for Laura. He had a feeling he would meet Laura again. Until the day Massimo saw Laura at the airport. When the girl of his dreams actually appeared in front of him, he immediately planned the kidnapping. Massimo made a request to Laura. He gave her 365 days to fall in love with him. If Laura doesn't fall in love with him within the agreed period of time, he will let Laura go. At the same time, he took out pictures of Laura's boyfriend having an affair and left notes for all of Laura's friends. A shocked Laura is obviously not ready to accept the sudden advances of a strange man. Massimo doesn't want to force Laura to fall in love with him now. He would give Laura some time to think about it. Laura had no choice but to agree. Then Laura tried to run away again and again. In fact, she couldn't escape at all, because Massimo's family is the most powerful on the island. The police couldn't help Laura. Laura had no choice but to approach Massimo slowly. Massimo, always the bossy one, organized everything for Laura. They ate breakfast, dinner, went shopping together. As long as Laura doesn't run away, he'll do whatever she wants. Massimo wanted Laura to teach him how to be gentle. He also bet Laura would fall in love with him. Laura didn't call the police when she got her cell phone. She called her family to tell them she was safe. Laura is tired of her previous relationship, and she has a subtle change of heart when she faces Massimo, who is sincere and passionate about her. In their continuous relationship and trial and error, Laura gradually began to accept him. That day, Massimo took Laura on a business trip. Laura walks into Massimo's room and is handcuffed to the bed. Massimo seeks pleasure from Laura's presence and teases her. His reason overcomes his desire in this moment, but Laura's emotions were already in turmoil. Laura then accompanied Massimo on a business trip. Dressed to the nines, Laura was the star of the show. Massimo's partner is after Laura and wants to take advantage of her. Massimo arrived just in time to save Laura. Without saying a word, he pulled out a gun and broke the harmony. The housekeeper reprimands Massimo for what he did for Laura, which was about to start a war between the two families. Laura was scolded and argued with Massimo. She falls into the sea in a fit of emotion. Massimo immediately jumps into the sea and saves her. When Laura awoke, she apologized to Massimo. Laura couldn't hold back her desire and feelings for the man who valued her more than his life. Then the two of them got into a wrestling match. You can imagine what happened. And that's when Laura began to accept Massimo. As Laura's attitude towards Massimo changed, her mood gradually improved. That day, Laura dressed up to accompany Massimo to a ball. Massimo, who is a local celebrity, attracts the attention of the press. While they were on the dance floor, they bumped into Massimo's ex-girlfriend Anna. Anna had heard a lot about Laura. What she didn't realize was that Laura really existed. Anna's family has a lot of power in the area. Massimo and Anna were supposed to be the perfect match and partners. But the moment Laura showed up on the island, Massimo and Anna broke up. After Anna left, Massimo explained everything to Laura. Then they went back to the hotel and made out. Massimo had to take care of some family conflicts caused by Laura's previous trouble. So he arranged for Laura to go back to her country for a few days. Massimo arranged a new house for Laura. When Laura tried to call Massimo, she realized that Massimo was unreachable. This started to worry Laura. Laura didn't know what to do, so she went to her best friend Olga, and she told Olga what had happened. There's no shortage of things to talk about between best friends. Laura showed off everything about her new boyfriend. Massimo was rich, powerful, well-built, handsome, and had everything Laura needed. As they talked, they got drunk. Then the conversation turned to Laura, complaining that Massimo was in the mafia and that he was too aggressive in everything he did. Massimo arranges everything for her and doesn't care about her feelings. Olga advised Laura to break up and leave Massimo. Maybe that's what good girlfriends are all about. The two of them were bored and randomly decided to go out and have some fun. Olga took Laura to get her hair styled. That's when Laura got a phone call. It turns out Massimo secretly bought Laura the luxury hotel where she works and gave it to Laura. And now, the two of them were officially having a great time relaxing and enjoying themselves. Laura and Olga went to a nightclub to get drunk. Coincidentally, they ran into Laura's ex-boyfriend Martin. Martin explained everything that had happened to him in Sicily. But Laura didn't want to hear anymore. She'd had enough of his boring life for a long time. Martin stalked Laura all the way back to her house. However, Massimo was already waiting for Laura. Once he saw Massimo, he walked away. Then Laura walked up and slapped Massimo in the face. She began to blame Massimo for his selfishness and irresponsibility. Massimo's sudden disappearance worried her, but there's no emotional conflict that can't be solved in one sex session. If there is, then make it two. Laura touched Massimo's gunshot wound and felt hurt for him. Laura said she didn't need 365 days because she was already in love with Massimo. And then she said yes to Massimo's proposal. At Laura's friend's wedding, Massimo met Laura's parents. When her parents asked Massimo what he did for a living, Massimo told them he was a gangster. Laura's parents were also very open. There was a moment of awkwardness, but they respected their daughter, Laura's choice. Massimo took her back to Sicily. Laura brought her best friend Olga to the island to plan her wedding. That day, the two of them went out for a walk. Laura told Olga about her pregnancy. Olga was surprised that it happened. They were struggling with whether to tell Massimo or not. Then Laura went to try on wedding dresses. Olga grew fond of Massimo's assistant, Domenico, and her best friend's love was on the way. Olga saw how beautiful Laura looked in her wedding dress and hugged her. On the way home. On the other side, the butler received a message that Massimo's ex-girlfriend Anna was planning to assassinate Laura. He tries to inform Massimo of the news, but realizes that Massimo's phone is always busy. At that moment, Laura is on the phone with Massimo, trying to tell him about her pregnancy. At the critical moment, Laura went into a tunnel and lost her cell phone signal. Massimo anxiously called out Laura's name. It wasn't until the housekeeper arrived in a hurry that Massimo realized something had happened to Laura. He instantly collapsed and fell to his knees, breathing heavily.